Good morning. This is Bill from Auto Europa Naples, and it's a lovely Monday. It's not that lovely, of course, but it is Monday. I'm here. I'm alone at the dealership, which is nice. I've got no nitwits bothering me yet, and I do have this 2016 Ford Fiesta ST. Now, when we took this car in on trade, I was instantly skeptical, and the reason being that, a lot of companies come up with these things that sort of look sporty, look racy, and they just don't deliver. And Ford, could well be guilty of that, that very same thing. But having driven it, having looked into it, having gotten around it, I can tell you that Ford does deliver. I mean, this is the hot hatch, It was a genre more or less invented by the Volkswagen GTI. You take a simple, commuter economy car that's pretty good, you put some hot rod stuff in it, and you sell it to people who want to break traffic laws. And that has held true for, 40 years. But it's not a genre that's taken off very well in the United States. There's obviously a small dedicated clique that loves the hot hatch, but it doesn't sell the same way that it does in Europe, which is a shame because there is something lovely about the whole hot hatch setup. For instance, you can get a 3-door in Europe. You only get the 5-door here, but anyway, who cares? Here's the thing that's interesting about it, beyond all the, fast and furious scoops and flares and whatnot, although I will say it falls just short of being annoying on that front. This thing is an absolute blast to drive, and that is what makes it such a worthwhile vehicle. This 2016, it's finished in Kona Blue. It has the optional Recaro setup, which is something you're going to want to have no matter which one of these you buy. And Ford has stuffed a lot of fun under the hood and in the suspension of this, fairly cheap sports car. It is attractive to look at, I will admit that. I mean, obviously when you pull up somewhere, it's not going to have the same impact as if you pulled up in a flying Spur or F430, but it does manage to look pretty nice for what it is. You see that kind of ridiculous rally car rear spoiler here at the top over the hatch. It's got a diffuser there at the bottom, 17-inch gray painted alloys, side skirts, that sort of thing. So it doesn't look the part. It's all very attractive in its own way. Maybe not in a way that I like, but certainly in a way that I think the snowflakes will dig. It's got 4-wheel disc brakes. It's lower than the standard Fiesta, and does manage to be a fairly attractive piece. You can see that sort of weird smiling front end. The way that I could put this car, after having driven it a little bit, after having beat on it, how would I put it? It's like a very energetic little puppy. I mean, it doesn't really matter what you do to it. You can, walk it at top speed, you can run it, you can send it through fords and rivers and dams, and it's still going to be wagging its tail and chipper and happy and ready to deliver more. And I think that's what makes this car so much fun. This is it's a real momentum car. It's not unlike the Miata in the sense that, even if it feels fast, which it really isn't fast in any, timed sort of way, it feels quick, and it's a lovely car to get up to speed, to handle the twisty bits in the roads, to take to the racetrack, to take to the autocross, and Ford has done just an absolutely stellar job setting all that up. So anyway, let's just get into this thing. We're going to start here in the hatch. And again, that's part of what makes these things useful, is that they are, in their heart and soul, a true economy commuter car, the way they're set up. So you've got rear seats that fold down, you've got lots of cargo room, you can go to Costco in one, you're going to be able to get all the crap you need in there. We've got a little thing down here with a, blow-up spare and whatnot, everything lovely, proper, nice. And, if you need to go to the grocery store, you're going to have no trouble at all. You look down there and you see the twice pipes. It's truly just a single exhaust with 2 tips, but very attractive looking painted diffuser, all part of what makes this thing look sportier than its, the standard Fiesta. Let's have a look under the hood. I can find the release in here. Okay, so under here is where you start to feel the magic from this car. This is a 1.6 liter direct injected turbocharged engine, putting out, I think, 197, just under 200 horsepower, which is quite a lot of horsepower for this little 2,700 pound car. In fact, it has pretty much an identical power to weight ratio as the original M3, the E30 M3. I know, don't beat me up for that, but it's true. It's a fantastic engine. It came out of the bigger Focus. What essentially this car is a big engine, which I feel stupid saying that about a 1.6 liter, but again, look at the size of the car. But it's a big engine in a small car, and that's always a formula for fun. It is the EcoBoost 1.6. It also has an overboost setting in this ST variant, where it'll bump it all the way up to 21 PSI on the turbo for 20-second intervals. So, unless you're blitzing down the Nürburgring, 20 seconds is going to be more than long enough. And once you lift and get back on again, it resets. So, very, very potent little mill under the hood of this car. The way they've run it through the exhaust, it gurgles and burbles and snaps and pops. Not quite up to the level of a Fiat Abarth, but not bad. And it also uses this weird little membrane thing in the firewall to pipe engine sounds directly into the car. Not BMW's radio-style engine sounds, which are really offensive, but, a true engine sound, it's just sort of amplified as if they put an ear horn up to the firewall, so it works out pretty nice. They're all mated to a 6-speed manual gearbox, the only one you can get in the ST, which is great. You can tell car guys are behind that, and it works very well overall. Also, while returning pretty incredible fuel mileage. I mean, you could beat the crap out of this car and still get 30 to the gallon. You see in the front sort of that weird, snowflake front end with the drooping headlights, the big smiling grille in the middle, nice fog lights down low. It all looks very sort of aggressive, if you will. All right, let's have a look at the back seats. Now, up front, you get those Recaros, which are going to hold you nicely into place. In the back, no such luck. So if you put 2 or, God forbid, 3 passengers back here and decide to do some twisties on a mountain road, these poor bastards are going to be smacking their heads into the, side glass and front headrests and back headrests. Looks nice with the contrasting stitching. The interior, call it cheap, call it what you will. It's very European Ford, so you get a lot of hard plastics and nothing that's particularly showy, but it is nicely put together, nice and tight. This does have power windows, thank God. You need those, and it could be worse back there, for want of a better way to put it. And if you have 2 adults, they're going to sit back there with some mumbling for a little bit, but otherwise they'll be fine. No complaints there. Does have sort of a keyless entry and ignition, so I can lock it by pressing that guy, unlock it by, probably also by pressing that guy. And there it is. And here are those Recaros, which are absolutely awesome. They really do make this car. Now, the option of having these Recaros costs like 1/10 of the overall price of the car, but you're still going to want to do it, especially if you do any kind of spirited driving. I mean, these things are nicely bolstered, and they will keep you very well planted inside the car while you're, breaking traffic laws willy-nilly. Real quick before we get in, you can see those attractive 17-inch alloys. They ride O-rings of tires there. They got some kind of Bridgestones on there that are summer only and feel good. You got 4-wheel disc brakes, nice. The car is about, I want to say 20, 25, somewhere around there, maybe only 15 millimeters lower than the standard Fiesta, but they bolstered up the front sway bar. They changed the knuckle on the front suspension, so it gives you a little bit more camber for performance driving. And most interestingly, they changed the steering ratio from over 14 to a 13.6 to 1, which is the stuff of road racers. So you really be able to dart this thing around like, like a surgeon when you're moving in and out of traffic. Very, very nice steering setup in this car. Let's hop in. Alright, so we're going to fire it up. It gives you that really irritating Ford beep, which I've never liked. feels very European in here, which of course this car is. You know, Ford has gone to this global company type setup. I think this thing was, you know, sort of designed in Germany, tested in Belgium. The engine comes from the UK. It's assembled in Mexico. I mean, this thing is all over the place by the time it makes it here. And, you know, somehow through having all that different input, it doesn't manage, or it does manage to stay nice and tight and feel like it's all one car. Let's turn this crap down. Nice, they give you a volume knob. Here you see a nice funky little display with your TAC and your miles per hour, and little driver information center in the middle. Nice fuel gauge beneath. You get kind of a funky ST steering wheel with the grippities at 10 and 2. I've always liked these twisty vents that they're very easy to focus and get in the right place. So why bother putting them in the middle when you have them on the sides? I don't know. I don't like a car with mismatched vents. I think that's something Ford should have done a better job of. Anyway, you've got multi-function stuff on the steering. You've got your power windows over here. You've got a Mercedes-style headlight switch where you can pull for fogs. All very nice. Your power windows over here. You know, again, not very different from the standard Fiesta other than the steering wheel and the seats. And, of course, this 6-speed manual gearbox with the nickeling-looking finish on it, but it still works fine. Here you've got the sort of touchscreen infotainment, the Ford Sync. You can hook your Apple phone up to that and it'll mirror it, which is great. But it seems a bit far away to me to be, you know, touching while you're sort of on the fly. It, you know, I think they could have done a better job putting that closer to the driver or increasing the font. Of course, you know, the average age of the guy who buys this car is probably not going to be somebody up near my age, so he can see a lot better, and it's probably easier for him to make those adjustments. You've got your volume knob and your controller here for all the different stuff, your in-dash CD. I read today that, you know, vinyl records are about to outsell CDs for the first time since 1986, so I don't know what that means, but it's probably a sea change in world history. Down here you have your automatic climate control. You've got your heated seats. You can turn off your traction if you want. One thing that's really interesting about this car is the big pitfalls of having a high horsepower front drive car are torque steer and understeer, and these are the reasons I hate front drive cars, and I don't like them and I don't want them. Ford has very cleverly addressed that in this car. They use sort of a torque vectoring thing that will apply brakes to the inside wheel in a corner. You know, you can't feel it as a driver. All you know is that the thing does a fantastic turn in, gives you very little understeer, and feels nice and darty and you know, available to deliver more than you even think it will. So kudos to them on that one. Not a true limited slip, but the way they set it up feels like it. And they've managed through, you know, that sort of thing to do away with the whole overblown oversteer thing that, understeer and, oh, for the love of God, I'm telling you, Monday. With that little bit of suspension tweaking, they've done away with understeer and torque steer, which is, of course, one of the great pitfalls of turbocharged hot hatches. Anyway, the hell with it. Well, before we go, let me just show you one thing. This car was traded in on a Cayman by a guy who is the flight engineer on an F-15 Strike Eagle. So essentially he's Goose. I hope he has better luck than Goose did in Top Gun, God forbid. But anyway, very nice guy. And, you know, look at the way he kept this car. I'm already screwing it up by even opening the things up. Jeez Louise. Get that back in. But here you can see the original, I'm losing the badges, the original window sticker, the purchase documents, every service record. I mean, this guy took it to a level that's frankly annoying. You know, I'd like to own a car like this, but I just don't have that kind of quality, and I don't think I want it either, even the little hang tags and stuff. So it also had a Focus School, Fiesta Focus, so if you bought an ST, Ford would let you attend one of their performance driving schools, which this guy did. And when you do that, they give you these special badges to put on the car that showed you attended it. And he kept the original badges, of course, and put them in this 3-ring binder. So definitely the kind of guy you want defending the country, but I don't know if you're going to want to have dinner with him. Let's go for a spin. And this is where these cars shine, is in the driving. Again, the power to weight ratio, incredible. The steering response, it's electric mechanical, which usually is bad, but it feels pretty damn good in this car. And it's just one of those cars that feels fast, even if it isn't. So maybe you're a guy who's had too many damn tickets. Look at that beautiful job he did on the windshield, our detailer. What a guy. What a guy. Anyway, maybe you're a guy who's had too many tickets. You're just getting into performance driving. Here's the problem. You buy a ZL1 Camaro, and to have any fun at all, you're tripling the speed limit. I mean, by the time you hammer it in first gear, you're fine. You're at triple-digit speeds. It's very hard to have fun with that car on the road in any sort of legal way. With this car, very, very different situation. You can be hammering it, you could be having fun with it, your passengers are going to warn you about going to jail, and then they're going to look over at the speedo and you're doing 40. And that is the beauty of cars like this, is they're fun even at low speeds. They'll also, do pretty much anything you ask them to do on the track. Listen to that exhaust note. Oh, see, and that's the thing, even though we're wide open, fucking Mazda SUVs pull in front of, I don't blame them, get out from that garbage truck. I've watched people, they'll actually drive around behind garbage trucks. I mean, can you imagine the sort of crap you're inhaling into your lungs in that scenario? But anyway, I mean, this car just begs to be driven hard and driven sportily and, having fun with, and heel and towing and darting into corners, and all while not really putting yourself in too much legal peril. Makes me wish the Miata had a few more horsepower, because it's a car a bit like this. 0 to 60, I want to say, is in the high 6s, quarter mile, under 15 or right around 15. Not screaming fast, but it's going to feel very fast to you. Caught second gear there. Oh man, is that fun. And it will just keep pulling. So, that is the joy of having a car like this, is the intense joy of driving. And Ford delivers. I'll give them credit. They have delivered in this car. They didn't have to. So many of these things are just all skirt and no muscle. But this thing is different. It really is the full package between the suspension, the engine, the steering, the shifting. You just never get tired of driving it around in a very sporting manner. You're going to find yourself doing e-brake turns in parking lots and, signing up for the local autocross. So anyway, we've got the sun come in and making everything annoying, so I'm going to cut it short. But here it is, 2016 Ford Fiesta ST. This one, mint, Kona blue, 23,000 mile, one owner car. Very, very well kept. Let's see if we can wreak some havoc in this residential neighborhood. Listen to that exhaust note. It's not quite the Fiat Abarth, but god damn is that fun sounding. Love it. All right, anyway, there it is. If you have an interest, give us a call, 239-298-8000, on the web at aenaples.com. Thank you so much for having a look. We appreciate it. God, that steering is hilarious. It's so tight. AE Naples. Anyway, give us a look up. Thanks very much. We'll see you with the next one. Take care.